Welcome back to PI Time. This week we will discuss recognizing your limits without shame. Let me begin with a simple question, one that doesn't demand an answer out loud, only an honest moment inside. When was the last time you felt tired, not just in your body, but in your spirit? The kind of tired that doesn't come from a long day, but from a long season of pushing, holding, carrying, and telling yourself that you should be able to do more. Today, we are stepping into a conversation that many of us quietly avoid. We are talking about limits, not as walls that trap us, but as doorways that guide us. Not as failures to hide, but as truths that can free us. By the end of our time together, I want you to walk away with a softer relationship to your own capacity, a clearer sense of what it means to care for your energy, and a renewed permission to move through your life without shame for being human. So, take a breath with me. Let your shoulders drop. Let the noise of the day fade just a little. And let's begin. There is a quiet moment that often arrives before we recognize it for what it is. It shows up as irritation where there used to be patience, as numbness where there used to be care. There is a heaviness in the chest when we think about something we once loved. This moment is not a weakness. It is awareness knocking. I want to share a story about someone named Eloan. Eloan was known in her circle as the dependable one, the one who stayed late, the one who answered messages at midnight, the one who never said no. Her days were full of meetings, commitments, and the quiet pride of being needed. But one evening, as she sat in her car outside her home, engine off, keys still in her hand, she realized she couldn't remember the last time she had walked through her own front door without feeling drained. She didn't feel dramatic. She didn't feel broken. She just felt empty. That moment didn't come with fireworks or a grand realization. It came with a whisper. Something inside her said, "I can't keep going like this." And that whisper was not an enemy. It was a guide. Sacred souls, this is often where our journey begins. Not with a bold decision, but with a quiet noticing. Not with a plan, but with a pause. When we allow ourselves to observe our own patterns without judgment, we create space for something new to enter. We stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" And we start asking, "What is my life trying to show me?" From that awareness, we move into something even more tender. We move into balance. Balance is not a perfect arrangement of hours and tasks. It is an internal state. It is the ability to sit with what we feel without being swept away by it. It is the practice of grounding ourselves when our emotions begin to run the show. This is where I want to introduce you to someone named Kaivan. Kaivan was a caretaker by nature. Not because it was his job, but because it was his identity. Friends leaned on him. The family leaned on him. Even strangers found themselves telling him their stories in grocery store lines and waiting rooms. For a long time, this made him feel valuable. But over the years, he began to notice something else. When he finally had a moment to himself, he didn't know what to do with it. Silence made him restless. Stillness made him uneasy. One afternoon, after canceling yet another plan he had made for himself so he could help someone else, he sat on his couch and felt a wave of frustration rise in his chest. Not at anyone in particular. just at the shape of his own life. Instead of pushing it away, he stayed with that feeling. He placed a hand over his heart. He took a slow breath. He let the emotion move through him instead of past him. And in that moment of grounding, he realized something profound and straightforward. Caring for others did not have to mean abandoning himself. Sacred souls, balance begins when we learn to stay present with our own experience. When we stop rushing to fix, explain, or justify what we feel. When we allow ourselves to be human in our own company. From that steadiness, something powerful can happen. Our perspective begins to shift. We stop seeing limits as proof that we are not enough, and we start seeing them as information, guidance, wisdom in motion. This is where Mireya's story begins. Mireya had built her life around achievement, milestones, goals, checklists that stretched across weeks and months. Her calendar was a map of her worth. Every completed task felt like a small victory. Every delay felt like a personal failure. Then came a season she did not plan for. A health challenge slowed her down. Appointments replaced meetings. Rest replaced progress. At first, she fought it. She tried to keep her pace. She tried to keep her standards. But her body had its own language, and it spoke through fatigue. One morning, sitting by a window with a cup of tea she barely touched, she watched the light move across the floor. For the first time in years, she wasn't doing anything. And in that stillness, a new thought arrived. What if my value doesn't disappear when my productivity pauses? What if my worth is not something I have to earn every day? That question changed the way she looked at everything. Her days, her goals, her relationship with herself. Sacred Soul's perspective is not about pretending challenges are easy. It is about seeing them through a wider lens, a lens that includes compassion, a lens that makes room for seasons, a lens that understands that being alive is not a straight line but a rhythm. As our understanding softens, we arrive at a place of healing. Healing does not always look like a dramatic transformation. Sometimes it looks like a small, quiet reclaiming, a boundary set, a rest taken, a truth spoken. This is where I want you to meet Oryx. Oryx was someone who avoided conflict at all costs. If something felt uncomfortable, he smoothed it over. If someone asked too much, he gave more. His life was peaceful on the surface, but restless underneath. There was a constant tension in his body, a sense of being stretched thin. One day, a colleague asked him to take on a project that would push him far beyond his capacity. The familiar yes rose to his lips. But this time, something else rose with it. A memory of exhaustion. A memory of missed dinners. A memory of nights staring at the ceiling, wondering when he would feel like himself again. So he did something new. He said, "I can't take that on right now." His voice shook. His hands felt cold. But he said it. The world did not end. The relationship did not collapse. What did change was the way he felt inside. There was a sense of space where there had been pressure. a sense of respect where there had been resentment. Sacred souls, healing often arrives through the courage to honor our own limits, not aggressively, not defensively, but honestly. When we do this, we are not pushing others away. We are inviting ourselves back. And from that place, we move forward, not with the same patterns, not with the exact expectations, but with clarity, intention, a quieter kind of strength. Let's take a moment to weave these stories together. Eloan showed us the power of noticing when something inside begins to whisper. Kaivan showed us the grounding that comes from staying with our own emotions. Maria showed us how our understanding of worth can expand beyond what we do. Oryx showed us that honoring our limits can create space for respect, both from others and from ourselves. These are not separate lessons. They are parts of the same journey. A journey that moves from awareness to balance to perspective to healing and into a renewed way of living. Sacred souls, recognizing your limits without shame is not about doing less for the sake of doing less. It is about doing what you do from a sustainable place. Honest. Alive. It is about understanding that you are not a machine built for endless output. You are a living being built for rhythm, for cycles, for seasons of giving and seasons of gathering yourself back. As we come toward the close of our time together, I offer you a few gentle steps, not as rules, not as demands, but as invitations. First, create a slight daily pause. Just a minute, just a breath, a moment where you ask yourself, how am I really? Second, notice where you feel tension when you say yes. Your body often knows before your mind does. Third, experiment with one honest no this week. Not a dramatic one, a simple one, a kind one. See what happens inside you when you honor your own capacity. And finally, speak to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love, with patience, with understanding, with room to be imperfect. Sacred souls, your limits are not a flaw in your design. They are part of your wisdom. They are the edges that help you shape a life that fits. A life where your energy is not constantly leaking away, but being invested in what truly matters to you. So, as you move back into your day, carry this with you. You do not have to prove your worth by exhausting yourself. You do not have to earn rest. You do not have to apologize for being human. You are allowed to move through your life with care for others and care for yourself. Both can exist. Both can grow. And when they do, something beautiful happens. You don't just live your life. You inhabit it. Fully. Gently. With a quiet, steady respect for who you are and what you can carry. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for honoring the sacred truth of your own limits. As I bring this episode to its close, I would like to invite you to read Becoming the Light, A Journey of Vision and Rebirth. This book offers self-discovery through the powerful 5R method: recognize, rebalance, reframe, and rejuvenate. Through heartfelt stories and practical techniques, readers are encouraged to confront fears, shed limiting beliefs, and celebrate personal growth. Each chapter offers opportunities for reflection, inviting you to reconnect with your inner self and share your light with the world. Embrace the adventure of becoming your best self and find wisdom and encouragement as you explore the human experience. To find out more about this book or to purchase it, please read the show notes. And on behalf of the whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you take time every day to pause, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. Till next week, namaste.